Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian. I have decided I will vlog daily from my country, Ukraine, and today is my 100th vlog in which I tell you about the situation in my country during the Russian war that Putin's regime has started in my beautiful country. And typically in my videos I try to speak about important real-life situations in Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and clarify some facts from our history, culture or background. Today for our 100th vlog I had a plan to go on a terrace and drink some coffee, but you all know, as it often happens with personal holidays, important dates, it is raining. So I do hope you will forgive me and let me return back home, grab my tea and continue. So I'm safe and dry back home, and I promise you that this week we will go out to some interesting place, as this is something that I wanted to do, to share with you more of my city and to make us know each other better. And I'm really grateful that you are with me, and this is 100th vlog. Actually, I did not believe this war will be so long. Now I realize it will be longer than all of us expected, and Ukrainians are prepared to the extent you can be prepared, but because we need and we dream of our victory as soon as possible. Anyway, I'm really grateful for this kind of community that grew around my channel, and I will have to confess, sometimes I feel proud at how many interesting, clever people I have, and I do share your stories with my friends on media, and they give me much inspiration and strength. And honestly, I would have given up this idea, but for you, I feel that I have some new ideas for some new projects, and maybe I will introduce you to them soon too. Also, I see that more and more Russian trolls appear below my videos, which is also a sign of popularity, I guess, and I'm grateful for those of you who start conversation with real pro-Russian people and ignore Russian trolls who are just automatic machines who simply reply the messages. When I have asked you about the idea for 100th vlog, many of you asked to speak about the future of Ukraine. How do we see it after we win? And Ukrainians are very superstitious, and typically we don't like talking about future because we believe something can get wrong. Well, and perhaps I do want to imagine this day when we win, and I do try to visualize what I will be doing. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not ready to speak about that. And as I want to be a writer, and I write, and I have my imagination, which is both my blessing and my real problem, I have decided to speak a little bit today about what Russia will be like after Ukraine wins this war. And I think, of course, not all of these things will come true. But first, we will make Russian trolls angry, which is also good. Second, I do want you and me start thinking alternatively about Russia, because Russia will exist in the future, and in the future not only of Ukraine but of the world. And we know that this country can be really dangerous, and perhaps it is really important to consider variants of its future. And here is how I see Russia after Ukraine wins. Today, this country is isolated, and isolated culturally, politically. Of course, they try to have connections with Idil, with Northern Korea and other states that sympathize dictatorships, but it goes without saying that if we compare Russia before the 24th of February and Russia today, these are two different countries. And even morning Russian vloggers who mainly speak about sanctions, and perhaps sanctions is one of the most popular words on YouTube, so if you want to be popular, fill in. So anyway, they also realize that Russia is isolated, and perhaps there is another important thing for me as a Ukrainian. When war started in 2014, we all knew that, we felt that, but many countries continue treating it like a conflict, like some misunderstanding between post-Soviet countries and so on. But today, the whole world, the whole civilized world, saw the true face of Russia, their crimes. They became visible, they are fixed, they will be prosecuted. Even if Putin does not get into a court and dies before that, still these crimes are known. And the regime of Putin and Russians who support it will be forever prosecuted. And I do believe that there is no way back for them. So these crimes that are visible persuade people that it is impossible to believe in Russia, to believe in today's Russia, in any kind of negotiations and so on. Also, with this war in Ukraine, Russians managed to ruin lots of their own myths, you know, the myth that they have the strongest army in the world, the myth that there are lots of pro-Russian Ukrainians, and by destroying this myth, there is one super great accomplishment that is already present and not many people talk about it. I do believe, I'm convinced that rebirth, reconstruction of Soviet Union as Putin wants this, as Putin wanted this and will continue wanting, is impossible. Soviet Union, because of the success of Ukrainian armed forces, is impossible. And you can see the signs that other countries that were under the influence of Putin already start having their doubts. Lukashenko, who is not very eager to fight this war. The leader of Kazakhstan, who demonstrated that he does not want to speak about the DNR, LNR and other republics. These are signs that actually demonstrate both the weakness of Putin, the fact that the world saw that there were lots of myths about Russia that has nothing to do in the real world, and as a result, the reconstruction of Soviet Union is impossible. And for me, this is an extremely important signal. And also, I think that one of the important accomplishments in Russia that will be both useful for the world and for the Russians, that communism will be equated to Nazism and other totalitarian regimes. And it will be prosecuted just as it is prosecuted in Poland, in Lithuania, and in Ukraine. So we will decommunize Russia. And that will be an extremely important thing. When they start talking about the crimes of Stalin seriously, about the number of victims among Russian citizens seriously, when they will watch, realize, and finally say never again, and not we can repeat it. So communism must be equated to the totalitarian regimes because it is a totalitarian regime, but it must be prosecuted because of the number of victims it created in the 20th century and it continues creating in the 21st century. So I do believe this is one of the things. And also a vision that I have that Lenin will disappear from a mausoleum. And when you think about that, they have a dead body in the center of Kremlin and Jews who want to see him. I think it's very sick. So I do imagine that Lenin will leave his mausoleum and will be buried or burned together with the corpse of Vladimir Putin. This is the vision of what I want after we win. And also the next step is the collapse of Russian Empire. And Russia is really bad. They often use it in propaganda that Ukrainians are bad with national minorities. Well, we share European standards and minorities feel pretty comfortable in Ukraine. But they speak not about minorities, they speak about attitude that like you don't have to speak that Ukraine is a separate culture, a separate identity. If there is one Russian in a country, then this must be Russia. This is the Putin's attitude. So I do believe that minorities in Russia, they suffer a lot. And there are lots of cultures. Russia is not one country, one culture, or one language. Russia is the largest country in the world. And that managed to occupy lots of beautiful countries, lots of beautiful cultures, and lots of beautiful languages. And the problem is that Putin's regime and Soviet regime tried to destroy these cultures, to destroy these languages, to Russify everything, so that Soviet people would appear, and Soviet people are what? Russian people. And this is the way the world sees it, by the way. So I do believe that Russia, present days, Russia will collapse and we will have smaller Russia, something equal to Moscow Oblast and maybe some other oblasts, regions. And it will become more democratic, and it will be easier for EU leaders to negotiate the prices on gas and other mineral resources. They will get a democratic president who will not be afraid to travel abroad, who will not deceive his or her colleagues, maybe even her colleagues. That would be interesting. Tatarstan will become independent, Siberia will become a separate country, and it will be a very prosperous country. There will be lots of investors from the United States, for example. They will build modern enterprises, maybe that will become a tourist region, and the quality of life will rise really high, and people will have toilets in every house. Also, perhaps Republic, I have put down that word, Republic Sakha, which is Yakutia region, will proclaim independence as they tried in 1991, and they will restore their cultural heritage. They will have closer connections with Alaska, for example. And finally, after this, cultures will have a free right to develop, free right to speak their own languages, to support their cultures. People will become happier. Russia will come down and maybe even join NATO, because NATO is a defense alliance, and with Russia inside NATO, it may be normal, like you don't have to be, there is a joke or something, if you can't beat them, join them. So maybe it's time for Russia to join NATO. That's the way I see the true victory, because with present-day Russia, we can never win this war. We can never win this war in Ukraine, and we can never win this war in the world, because somehow for the last 300 centuries, or at least 1 century, Russia is a very dangerous place, is a birthplace of dark ideas, crimes, and a country that actually opposes itself to most of the world. That's why we are in danger, but at the same time we are united. And I do believe that good always prevails over evil. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching these vlogs, just 1 or 100 of them. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, because it gives me a wider platform to share things about Ukraine that I consider important and that may be useful to you in the understanding of what is going on in our country. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons, and thank you for the friendship that we have developed, because I do know many of your names, value your advice. It seems to me that I can even recognize some of your characters and attitudes. Slava Ukraini!